Up for tonight. Talked to Dave about shooting, huh? Oh, I talked to Dave about shooting images here tonight, and it just wasn't feasible with the amount of people. The dogs would be totally distracted, and he would like to have a workshop coming up that he would do, and he's going to let us know when that's going to happen. So anyway, but let me talk about April. We're going to have a Zoom meeting with Bert Skirkham, who does infrared photography, and he'll be on the website, and I'll send some information out for.
Make sure they understand we're still going to meet.
We're still going to meet, right?
Presentation will be by Zoom, so it will be, those who are here will get to see the presentation on the big screen as opposed to on the personal screen.
Okay.
If they want to stay home, they can also see it.
So yes, if you want to see it on the big screen and be a part of it here, we're going to be here. Otherwise, if you don't feel comfortable, you can watch it on Zoom too. May Becky Hume is going to be talking about emotion and portraits. There she is. Yay, Becky. Okay, and you what? It's so much fun having the puppies here. I love it. And in June, Ron Wyatt does Olympic sports. He's traveled all over, so he will be real interesting too. Looking forward to that. And tonight, Dave, my friend, Dave Jackson is here with Kendall. He's going to be sharing some of his ideas on shooting Man's Best Friend. He does phenomenal work, and you'll love this presentation. Okay, anything else?
So turn your microphone. So you'll need to share your
screen.
Shay, can you get rid of that thing on the?
Probably don't need that.
All right, so let's see. If people hear him.
Can you hear me? I don't think you'll have a trouble hearing me. I'm Dave Jackson. I'm a professional photographer, or was a working professional photographer for years. You hear a dog too, don't you? So we're going to talk tonight about dogs and best friends. I'm sure a lot of you have had dogs in your lifetime. I don't know what I would do without having a dog. It's just one of those things that you heard the old joke about putting the dog in the trunk or someone else. And it's true. You put the dog in the trunk, dog's going to be very happy to see you when you come and get him out. Your friend, probably not. So I take a lot of pictures of oh, can everyone at home please mute?
I think that did it.
Okay,
And we were getting somebody in the background, so,
all right.
okay, all right, go ahead.
Well, I have been a photographer since, probably age 14. So I've been in it for a couple of years. I got my first Nikon when I was 16. And I still have that camera. I still have the original Kodak camera that I got from a couple of boxes of cereal, got me started. Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And everybody, I just want to make sure everybody can hear you. Ask that everybody.
It says the host would like you to unmute.
I think I hit the wrong button.
Oh, all right.
And I can't seem to. You're unmuted. All right, you can go ahead.
All right. So having a dog all these years, I certainly have taken a lot of pictures of dogs, dogs sitting for me, sleeping for me, rolling over for me, dressing them up, doing all sorts of silly things. During COVID, I decided that I would get a little bit more serious with Kendall and try and do some nice photographs. I sat at home for a while and I thought, you know, we should have a little bit more fun doing this. And so I had to bribe her. I have a bedroom. This was weather's still cold. And I had a bedroom that I put felt up around the room so that I could light without having all the distractions of the background. And she liked doing it because she was getting a lot of treats. So she looked at me and I said, good dog. And I flipped a treat to her and she caught it. And I expected her to. And I started thinking, you know, I'll bet you I can catch her doing that. So we started working on that. We went through a half a box of milk bones before she finally just says, all right, I've had enough. I got to go outside. I'm full. And we sat and talked about it a little bit. I decided that we probably should move everything to the garage. The garage is going to give me a little bit more room. I can back the lights up. I can do a number of different things with her. I light with flash. I like using flash. My flash system right now is a Godox. I bought this, 2-3 years ago. And Godox are smaller heads from what I was used to as a commercial photographer, but very light and very adjustable. I can do a lot of different things with it. And one of the things that the Godox allows me is that when we are, hi bud, when we are shooting, if I turn the power down, I get a shorter flash duration. And the Godox will go down to 1/10,000th of a second. So I try and keep the flash duration at a very short speed because the dogs are moving, especially when they're jumping at trying to catch a treat. Kendall will jump at the treats. I have some dogs that will sit there and you got to flip it close to their face before they're going to open their mouth and accept it. They all have personalities, every one of them, and they are really a joy to work with. But the thing you must have is patience. That dog is not going to do what you really want the dog to do. The dog is going to have a mind of its own. The dog is going to want to play. The dog likes getting the treats, but will continually work itself closer and closer to you. And it doesn't really work. And you're sitting on the floor trying to focus, trying to make sure everything is correct. So I decided to move everything to the garage and I built a table. And that's what I've been shooting the dogs on since then. The table is a 4x8 sheet of plywood that I knocked down to 4x6. 6 foot was a lot easier to handle. It sits 16 inches off the floor and I covered the top with indoor-outdoor carpet so the dogs felt comfortable with it. This is a strong table. I can get up and stand on the middle of it and it will not bend or fall over. So we started shooting that. And let me show you a couple of pictures here. If I can get it going. So this is Kendall. And when I show you a dog to begin with, we're going to give you the dog's name. And I will tell you a little bit about him and what we were doing. So Kendall is used to getting her picture taken. She complains about it quite a bit, but she doesn't hide from me every time I get the camera out. She usually doesn't want to roll over in the right direction for me. So I have to kind of plan ahead a little bit. So we talk and she listens. And during COVID, I spent a little time with her just like this, looking at her, talking to her. And I said, Kendall, now I know you understand everything I'm saying, because if I tell you to go over there and pick something up and bring it to me, you'll do it. If I tell you there's a treat on top of the towel over there in the corner, you'll look around till you find the towel and you'll go and get it. So how about it's just you and me? We will have a conversation, but I want you to talk to me, and I promise I won't tell anybody, but you can talk. So let's see what other pictures we've got here. We did a lot of experimenting, throwing things, trying to find a good direction. If I go too fast on these, please just speak up, or if you have any questions, don't hesitate. I found that if I break the treats in half, we can go twice as far with them. So we tried shooting dead on, like the one at the bottom. Well, I really don't need to see down her throat. Sometimes the others, there's some cute shots, and they're all beautiful shots, and they're all stop action. I generally, when I'm shooting, I will set my ISO quite high. I'll go up to 1,000 ISO. And the reason I do that is because I want to have a little bit of depth of field. I don't need to stop this all the way down, but a couple of stops would be great. The shutter speed is going to be no faster than 1/250th of a second, which will not stop the action, but the strobe will. And that's what I'm basing my stop action with, is the strobe. So once I set that strobe at 10,000, 1/10,000th of a second, I can then adjust my light to have the correct brightness through my ISO. And like I said, it's usually about 1,000th of a second, or one ISO of 1,000. I get this right. Get them all mixed up. So let's see what else we have. Now, some of the shots are a lot more fun than others. I love the eye action in these. Kendall's really good at keeping her eye on the treat. You know, we have kind of a short face, and I've always wondered, she's got a long nose. How does she find things when she can't see past that nose? Whiskers have something to do with it, but she's pretty sharp. If there's something out there, she knows it. And of course, she can smell it, so she drops one on the floor. Oh, that's the other thing. You throw treats at a dog. It doesn't have to be Kendall. Any dog. Everything stops if they miss it. We got to go get that treat. That's the most important thing in the world. So patience is really a lot to do with it, because you think you have everything set. The dog misses the treat, hops down off of the table. All right, now we're going to start again, try and get them back up here. Now with Kendall minds me, and she pays attention, and I tell her to turn this way or turn that way. She has no idea what I'm talking about, but I can move her into position. I can't necessarily do that with a dog that is not mine. And I really like having the owners there to help with this, because the owners has the dog's attention. And that's a very important part of this, where the dog is playing. They don't seem to mind the flash, even if I have that flash going off several times a second. And there are times when we have a dog that moves quick, and I'll put it on continuous, and the flash will keep up with it. But I just push that button and just keep shooting for a group. And so a shot like this, I probably did something like that. I bet you I had 7 or 8 shots, and maybe 2 of them were good. I'm only going to show you one. I'll pick one out of any kind of grouping, but there's a lot of times I'll shoot 7 or 8 shots, and maybe I won't have a thing. Again, I don't have a lot of depth of field, so focus is a problem. I don't want to shoot with a longer lens, because that reduces my depth of field. This is usually shot with a normal lens, and I really like shooting either with my 55 micro or my 60 micro. and it gives me very sharp images. It's more in the normal length of a lens, but it works very well. And as long as we've got flags up so the flash is not flashing into the lens, and I find it sometimes I'll shoot some tests and look at it and say, oh, I've got a lot of flare over here in the corner. I've got to fix this. So I try and figure out where the nose is going to be in relationship to the table, and talk to the owners, make sure that they understand what I'm trying to do, which direction we want to go. Do I want the treats to come in from the top? Do I want them to come in a little bit more at eye level for the dog? There's times we've even bounced them off the table just to see what would happen. There are no rules, and we all know that in photography. We make our own rules. Whatever works best is what you want to do. So there you can see a little bit of the table. Hop up there, let me take your picture, and we'll just see what we've got. I'm sure this was a test. This wasn't what a shot I was trying to do. There go the eyes again. If you're throwing treats and taking the pictures, it's a coordination thing. It's like driving a car with a clutch. You got to get the left hand and the right hand working at the same time. Now, quite often when I am shooting, I have at least 2 lights, and a lot of times 3. I like to put a backlight on it. If and we will see in some of these things, if you look at the eyes, or you'll see some of my lighting, I'll have a soft box on the left side, and I'll have like a beauty reflector over on the right side. So the beauty reflector is giving me a little bit more volume of light versus a soft box, which is going to be a little smoother. The backlight, like in this one, doesn't go off because it's just a small on top of the camera type of light that I've hooked up. It is set as a slave. Does not recycle as fast as my bigger Godoxes. Some of them do, and every time I do a shoot, I make sure my big flash units have charged batteries with them, and the little flash in the back has a brand new set of batteries. Those are replaceable batteries. So I go through a lot of batteries. I have a lot of flash heads, and sometimes I'll get all of them going, but I think I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 flash heads sometimes. But I try not to use more than 3. 3 is plenty to light everything you need to light. I love this shot. It is kind of our relationship, and I can hold out my hand and say, give me your hand. And we worked on this when she was younger, and I would say, shake, and she would always give me the wrong one. I'd say, no, give me the other hand. So even now, we go for walks, and she'll start limping. Maybe she's got some snow between her toes or something like that. And I'll say, well, let me see your paw. And she'll hand me her paw like this. And I'm like, is that the one that hurts? Give me the other one. Let me see the other one. And so she'll put it down and hand me the other one. She understands. She knows what I'm talking about. So that looks good, Kendall. Maybe we should bring some of your friends in and try some of them. So we got a couple neighborhood dogs. This is Liam. Liam lives about 1.5 blocks away, and Liam comes over to play with Kendall all the time in the summer. Liam is a full-size boxer, and he's like Tigger. He bounces, he runs, he's never still. So I was thrilled to be able to get pictures of him holding still. I brought the dog and the owner in, and I said, all right, we're going to shoot some things. And I usually do more than one shoot with the dog. And if I really am having fun, or the dog is a ham, which some of them are, I like to get them back a couple of times and try different things with them. So Liam is one of these dogs where you throw a treat, and after a while he'll go for it. But to begin with, you'd throw it at him, and he would wait until it get close to his face, and then he'd say, all right, give it to me. And he's a sweet little dog. He doesn't have that big a head, but boy, he's all mouth. He comes over and plays Frisbee in the yard. Kendall won't play Frisbee with me. She can count to 3. She'll chase it 3 times. And if I throw it a 4th time, she'll just look at me and turn around and go the other direction. Liam will keep chasing it. Well, we went too far. Back up there. So I try and do nice pictures of dogs, not just crazy pictures. I try and do a nice portrait. This one, I think he had just swallowed the treat. So I love this picture though, because he looks like wet canary. But I think this is a very pretty picture of him. Dog's fur is different than our hair. And I don't know what it is, if it's the oil in the hair, but as we go through these pictures, you look at it and you will see that the hair really stands out. It's different. Liam got to be quite a ham through this whole thing. He would sit there and I'd say, all right, good boy, you stay. Well, we're going to go right past that other one into Cooper here. Come on, we'll back up. We want to just give him his ears up. So you can see the treat. He's doing a little bit of a jump there, and that's what made his ears go up. This is Cooper. Cooper's another neighbor. Cooper came over to the house when he was just a little puppy. He was about the size his head is now. Cooper is probably 135 to 140 pounds. He's a Mastiff. And he's a big baby. I have a road in front, a road on the side, and a road behind. I have a large yard, and he lives across the back street. Now, Kendall is not allowed to go in the street, and I taught these folks how to train Cooper not to go in the street. Cooper is such a big dog. I'm sure that the pound would be looking for him if he were running loose. Cooper's a good dog, but he beats up on Kendall quite a bit when Kendall goes over. He plays pretty tough. Cooper doesn't catch. I threw a number of treats at him and they bounce off his forehead. He'll pick them up off the ground or get down off the table, and we have to get him back up there again. But Cooper does not catch. Now, he loves playing ball, and he doesn't just use a small ball. Oh, I love this one. These big dogs are a little drooly. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, it comes in pretty good. But you will see some moisture in some of these other pictures. I know when I go over and I play with Cooper a little bit, I really don't want to pick up his ball much because it's so gooey. It's the kind of ball he likes playing with. And I had this one in the garage, and it was a little flat. But between Cooper and another dog, they pretty much said it's going to be flat by the time we're done with it. And Cooper will take this and bury it down underneath him and kind of bend over and hide it. And he'll look at you like, I don't know where the ball went. Over here on the right side, he's getting started to do that. He's got huge paws. Absolutely huge. This is before he decided he was going to go after his owner because his owner was teasing him. And so his owner kept pretending like he's going to throw the treat. And finally, Cooper said, I've had enough of that, and got up and went over and took it away from him. So But he's a good dog. And if you look at, once again, look at the fur on him. It's just amazing. So this is Zola. Zola is a Rottweiler, and she's a big Rottweiler. She's about 150 to 160 pounds. I've shot with Zola a couple of times. I've seen Zola at other times before we shot. I remember Zola as a puppy. And Zola came over, and I was talking with Zola the other day, and she's just, if you had a China shop, you would not want Zola in there. Either Zola or Cooper, because they would knock everything down. Sweet dog. We were shooting. I took Zola out in the backyard, and I said, you know, will Zola wrestle? And her owner said, well, yeah, you know, I wrestle with her. And so I kind of gave her the pushes, and like we're going to wrestle, and Zola knocked me flat. Just knocked me flat. So our owner comes out and says, no, you be nice. So I'm sitting there. So Zola turns around, backs up, and sits in my lap. And she's just like, well, hi, you know, how are you? And so she gave me a kiss, and I said, all right, you got to let me up now. And so we went back in, we did some more pictures. And I love this shot just because of that little bubble on her tongue. But I bet you her head is about the size of mine, maybe bigger. Oh, you can see that. There it is. Well, maybe we won't look at that other one. So I try and put her scary faces all in one. You know, you look at that and say, oh, I wouldn't want to run into that dog at night. But she's the biggest baby you've ever seen. I think she's caught the treat. And she liked to catch things. I could throw treats, I could throw tennis balls, I could throw, if you throw it at her and say, you catch this, she would grab it.
Are you using a remote?
No, actually, I'm hand holding the camera. Oh, am I using a remote? No, I am hand holding the camera simply because I'm working with a moving subject, and I've got a 6 foot wide table. That dog could be anywhere in 3 feet from side to side. So if I had it on a tripod, it would be a little bit more difficult because we're going front to back, plus side to side, plus up and down. And I need to be ready. And you throw a couple of treats, you know which way the dog is going to go. If the dog is going to jump, if the dog is going to just open its mouth, if its dog is going to go up in the air or forward. A lot of trial and error, and every dog is different, and you can shoot the same dog on 2 different occasions and probably do 2 different things. I love this. I get pictures of dogs with their tongue out all the time, and they look just silly. Her owner has this picture up in her office, and it's a cute picture. You don't realize how big the dog is until the dog comes to work one day and you see the dog in person and like, oh my goodness. Once again, I think she's caught it. And after we shot a bunch of these, her owner says, you know, she really likes catching bubbles. We throw bubbles and she catches those. Now you can see my lighting scheme a little bit here. This one basically shows mainly the soft box. You don't see the beauty light on the other side because I think the dog is in the way. But I also don't see the backlight. So this was one of those that maybe the backlight didn't go off. And if you look at the bubbles, you will be able to find the picture on the right, and you see some bubbles, and there's a little tiny highlight up on top of a couple of those bubbles, and that's the backlight. It's just separating the dog from the background. Now, we didn't tell Zola to turn to the right and catch that bubble. This is why you hand hold it. Rather than putting it on a tripod, it's just too unpredictable. There you can see all three lights. Every light on a bubble is going to show twice. This is one of my favorite shots. The bubble on top is just in the process of popping. And if you look closely, there is another bubble in her mouth that has popped, but you can still see the shape of it. So this is Beckham and let me see here. Beckham and Barry. Beckham is the dark-haired one, and Barry is the brother. They live in the same house. They are Australian shepherds. I was trying to get more pictures of the two of them together. Actually, there was a little girl over there holding them on the left side that I took out. But I wanted to get more pictures of the two of them together, and it's just wasn't going to happen. So we went on to shoot them separately, but nice dogs, just absolutely beautiful. So this is Beckham. And I try and get their attention so that they look at me, making noises. Sometimes I have a little squeaky thing that came out of one of Kendall's toys, and I can put it in my mouth and bite on it a little bit, and it'll squeak, and then the dog will turn and look right at the camera, which is what I did here. If they're catching things, can't do it at the same time because they'll either bounce off of their head or they'll go after the squeaky instead of the treat. But once again, the eyes have it. Go back. There we go. It was a very good catch, by the way. Now, these are herding dogs. And I think they try and herd each other, to tell you the truth. The dogs were on the table, off the table. Pointed this direction, pointed that. It didn't make any difference. We shot a lot of stuff. I got a lot of side pictures and some tails and some a lot of out of focus things because these dogs were very what do I want to say, active, and they would bounce all over the place. But when we'd get them up there and get their picture, they came out just gorgeous. We can't be mad at the dog if the dog doesn't want to pose right, doesn't want to do what you want him to do. I found that out with Kendall, and I would say, all right, I'm going to lay on the floor and I want you to come over here and give me a kiss. Nope, not going to do that. I'm going to stay out of range, so I'm not in the camera. And if she's decided she doesn't want her picture taken, I can't go any further with it. We just have to take a break and talk about it and maybe come back later. And sometimes we'll get them and sometimes we won't. This is Barry. The Barry, this picture kind of makes me laugh. It looks like he's looking for trouble. What can I get into? He looks like he's got mischief on his mind. I think the treat's in his mouth. Yeah, I took 3 pictures and just put them together so that we'd have all the catching pictures show up. Dogs are built a little different than humans, obviously, but getting a light in their eyes can be a little bit more of a trick. You have to almost bring that light around to the front. And I like a little bit more side lighting, except the dog's eyes, if I bring it too far to the side, you won't see highlights in their eyes at all. And it happens with Kendall quite a bit, especially I found this out when we're out in the yard and I like, oh, sit right there. Let me get my camera. I'm going to take your picture. And I take her picture. There's no highlights in her eyes. And there's no highlights in her eyes because the sun is up high. The sky is giving us our fill. But unless I put a light, attach it to the camera somewhere, we're not going to get highlights in her eyes. And I can go in and artificially put things in, but they don't always look real. So if you want to take pictures of dogs and you're having problems with that, use a small flash, turn the power way down and just keep it off to the side somewhere. That'll give you the highlights in the eyes. It'll give you a little bit of dimension, but I think it'll make your pictures spark a little bit more. That's a lunge. And I'm always amazed sometimes, even when I think I know what I'm doing, that the dogs will do something completely different and I come out and it's still in focus. I'm not shooting at 11 or 16. I'm probably shooting at very max, maybe 8. So but I like to get some sort of a relationship with the dogs anyway. When the dog first comes over, when I first meet them, I will hold my hands down, you know, good dog, are you? And I'll talk to him. I'll look him in the eye and talk to him. Are you a good dog? You know, are you going to take your picture? Do you like treats? And rub them. They like jowl rubs. They like ear rubs. They like to be talked to. They like to know that they are the star, and no different than any of us. We get out in front of a camera. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and the checkout person is talking to somebody else and doesn't pay any attention to you? You don't want to do that to the dogs either. You want the dogs to think that you have, or they have your full attention. And when you've got that and we start taking pictures, they're going to be wonderful. They'll do a great job for you. This is Kuma. Kuma was just over a year old. Beautiful dog, hadn't filled in yet, was still kind of skinny, but was probably as big as he's going to get. His radar units are all up. And nice dog. If you decide that you want to take pictures of somebody's dog, ask them to bring along their own treats. I tried tossing treats to Kuma, and Kuma didn't know what those treats were because he got a different kind of treat, probably a different flavor. And so he would sniff at them and, you know, say, oh, it's not mine. I really don't want that one. but they had brought treats along. So you will see. This picture on the left, I just want to say Rutrow. Paid attention, you know, just absolutely. The one on the left or on the right, I got the squeaker going. You can see his head's tilted. He's paying attention to me. He wants to know what's going on. Here's the treats. He's got the eyes too. You'd be surprised how many pictures I have with a dog with his tongue out. Usually doing just what he's doing here. Boy, that was a good treat. Got any more? I don't think I had a bad time on any of the dogs that I took pictures of. I think it was fun. And it's fun because it's not only fun for the dog, but you get these folks in here and they're going to talk to you too. And we're going to laugh. We're going to just have a fun experience doing these pictures. And I put this one in because it's kind of hard to see that he's a German Shepherd. It's not usually the way we see a German Shepherd. So from here, I had a friend who I met. He says, you know, my dog is pregnant and going to be having puppies here in the next few days. And I said, oh, I'd love to take pictures of the puppies. And he says, well, when they get a little bit older, I'll call you and see if we can get some pictures of the puppies. So at 5 weeks, I get a call. And these little guys, you just want to put one in each pocket and just take them home. I mean, they're just adorable. This is a golden retriever, a very light golden retriever. And you see the Christmas tree in the background. And I said, you know, maybe we should do a Christmas picture. Let's grab this basket over here and let's put him in the basket. Oh boy, that worked out pretty good, didn't it? Well, there were 7 puppies. Let's put them all in the basket. You know, puppies, you get them all together, they're either sleeping or they turn into fluid. I had 4 people trying to get all the puppies in the basket for a picture. And no sooner we put a puppy in, for every puppy we put in, at least one puppy would come back out. And even when they would hold on to him for a little bit, let go, suddenly you couldn't back out quick enough. The puppies kept popping out of the basket. And we struggled with that for a while. All 7 of them, right? We call that good. The other puppy was just out of the picture a little bit, and I had pictures of him anyway. So I never did paste him into this picture, but. So Kendall and I walk every day. We shot this one, oh, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. We try and do 2 miles. And even with the snow, I try and do 2 miles, but a lot of people don't shovel out their sidewalks, or they shovel stuff up where the sidewalk should be, and there are no sidewalks and you can't get through, but we try and walk every day. And she has a schedule, and by golly, you've gotten out of the shower, you've had your breakfast, you're watching television, hurry up and get your shoes on because it's time for our walk. And we do it every day, and it keeps us both young. So springtime comes, we like going out in the backyard and playing some games. Anybody know this game? Yep. I shot this a couple of years ago. You see, I had a beard. I started growing my beard at Christmas, and I grew my beard for a year for my Christmas card the next year. I did not bring that along. Evie knows it. So my beard is actually quite short there. This is Kendall from the Worm Cam. I have a little, what are those little cameras, those GoPro. And so I had a little low spot in the grass, and you can see I got the flowers in there and my windmills in there, and I stuck that down in the grass, and I thought, well, Kendall, what's over there? What is that? And so she goes over, I had a remote for it. And so she goes over to sniff at it, and I got her picture. No highlights in the eyes, though. Nice warm day. She's out there rolling in the grass. Might as well pour some water on her and catch a little water shot. COVID left us struggling for models. I shoot people a lot. I do dogs. I do all sorts of things. And so we do a lot of playing. And of course, COVID didn't seem to bother Kendall and her friends. Her friends come over to play too. The name of this picture is We Don't Call It the Kitty. We don't call it the kitty. So anyone have any questions? Anything I can answer? Anything, I mean, equipment. Obviously, I work with Photoshop. I've even photobombed the picture so that I was a pretty good model throughout COVID because I was always available. Kendall likes it when I get out the treats, even for something like this. And if I've got the treats out and I move, she's up and she's got those treats. She can look just over the table so she can see them. She won't take them, but she knows that they're there. And if they're out, I'm getting some of them. So. But that's what I have. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? Anybody from online have a question? You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
Well, I love taking pictures, and this started out kind of as a just a play thing, and then I got into it a little bit deeper. I have a tendency of doing that, and I say, oh, you know, if I did this, if I just build this table, you know, well, now I've got this 4-foot by 6-foot table in the garage that I stand it up on edge and chain it up so it doesn't fall on my car, and I can bring it down to shoot whatever I want on it. And I have shot people on it. I've done all sorts of things. I'm working right now on a trolley that runs on a rail system. I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to use it yet, but it's probably 6 feet long, and it's a double rail system. And I just go on Amazon and I find some some little wheels that will fit on the track. You know, looks like they were made for a track system. And so my next step will be to put a ball head on this, and then I can wheel that up and down the track if I want to do motion, if I want to do some video with it. And I don't really work with video. I have done things in the past, but this just gives me some more options to play with.
We have a question. What camera and lens do you shoot with in your studio?
Well, for the dogs, I was using my Nikon. I have a D810, and I'm either using the Micro Nikkor 55 or the Micro Nikkor 60. And you wonder why I have two Micro Nikkors so close together. The Micro Nikkor 55 is probably a 35-year-old lens, just as sharp as a tack. I love working with it, and there was a sale on the 60 millimeter, and it was out of focus. And as I get a little older, sometimes I think that maybe I should have autofocus because it's getting tougher to see all the time. I really don't like autofocus though. And so quite often, even with that lens and my other autofocus lenses, if I'm shooting something broad or wide or big, I may use autofocus. But if I'm going to do portraits, whether it's dogs or people or product shots, something close, no, I'm turning that autofocus off, and I'm going to focus where I want it to be sharp.
Do you ever do portraits of the owners with their dogs?
Everyone. And I did not put them in there because I haven't talked to them to ask their permission, especially since we're going to record this and show it online. I would want to make sure I have their permission. We had the two Australian Shepherds, and I had the young lady in there holding one so he didn't take off. And she was probably 14. Yeah, we don't want to do that without permission. So, but yes, every time I had a dog in, I always make sure that I am giving the owners something more than just a picture of their dog. Here's a picture of you with your dog. And sometimes it's more than one dog. I did have one owner that said, no, I don't want a picture of me. Okay. But I always offer that, and am more than happy to do that. When I learned photography, I learned with film, and it costs a lot of money. Now everything is digital, and it's just like, don't like that one, throw it away. We don't care. It's instant gratification. We can look at this picture and say, I like what I've got. Or, oh my gosh, I missed the focus on that, or I missed the exposure, or he's moving, I need to change, I need to do this, I need to do that. So nowadays, photography is so much easier. Back when I shot film, I had to have a darkroom. I couldn't afford to keep sending stuff to the lab all the time. And actually in my photography, I started out processing film and making prints, and then thought, well, I need a better camera. And so then I started buying cameras. Oh, well, now I need a better enlarger. Oh, or I need an enlarger, and then I need a better enlarger, and then I need a better enlarger and a better camera. Yeah, it's waterfalled over the years.
How old is Kendall?
Kendall is just about 11. She'll be 11 next month. So, and she's in pretty good shape. We go out and walk all the time. She's sleeping a little bit more these days. I wish I could say I am, but.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, I appreciate your patience, and I enjoyed showing you my pictures, and I'm sure you'll probably see something more of me. I am on Facebook. I shoot a lot. And a lot of different things, not just dogs. I like putting lenses in different places where you get a different look at things. I like working with the models. I don't know, Evie, if you've seen my mermaids. So If you go to Facebook, and I have two Facebook pages. One is Jackson Photography and Design. The other is David Jackson. And I don't know why I have two of them, but you'll find.
JacksonPhotography.com.
No, it's not a .com. It's a Facebook page.
Okay, Jackson Photography, and the second one is what?
David Jackson, and the other is Jackson Photography and Design.
Okay, thank you.
So. And I know some of you were thinking we were going to shoot tonight, but it's just, it's a little bit more involved than that. And if we were going to shoot dogs, we'd probably need at least a couple of hours to get things going and make sure things are right. With this many people, it might be too much confusion and where's this other, that guy, he seems to have fit in pretty good. It may work out all right. Maybe we should have a workshop and do that sometime. It'd be kind of fun.
That'd be fun.
Mhm.
That would be fun.
But I shoot a lot of liquids. I shoot a lot of smoke and mirrors and models. And what else am I doing here? Cheerios was the last shot. So, but I really, and I beg you, please be creative in everything that you shoot. If you shoot something and you've got your digital camera and you look at it and say, well, if I had just done that, well, go back and shoot it again. Even if you don't shoot it the same day. Shoot what you like, shoot it until you're happy with it, and then keep shooting it. And experiment. Photography is a wonderful art form.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.